Every year around the end of the first quarter, the government comes calling, and discussion turns to the word everyone loves to hate: taxes. We all need to pay our fair share, but depending on your income, this number can be as much as 37% in federal income tax alone. This gets worse depending on what state and local taxes look like in your area. However, there are some things the federal government has allowed that can help offset those taxes. Let's talk about one that is less well known and can have a significant impact for accredited investors. It's called bonus depreciation. You see, in 2017, the tax laws were changed to allow us to take 100% of depreciation on assets purchased or put into service in the first year, effectively pushing what could have taken many years into one. And while this benefit in its current form is set to change on December 31st, 2022, bonus depreciation is something companies can take advantage of in one form or another. Now you might ask, what does this have to do with my tax issues? Well, what if I told you there was an investment vehicle that would allow you a way to take advantage of bonus depreciation, providing you a loss that could be applied against income taxes? Would you be interested? Let me introduce you to EPUS Global Energy, founded by industry veteran Jeff Johnson in 2016. EPUS invests in water infrastructure, specifically saltwater disposal wells and recycling technology, which qualifies under the new tax laws for bonus depreciation. Again, you might ask, what does this have to do with my tax issues? Well, if you invest in EPUS's Fund 2020 as a general partner, the tax benefit created by bonus depreciation flows through to you as an investor. So what does that mean? Well, in 2020, if you invested in their Fund 2020, you would have received a 92% offset to income. And in 2021, that offset was 85%. Let's use some simple math to see what that might look like. If you had invested $100,000 in EPUS during calendar year 2021, you could have applied that benefit against your W-2 income, 1099, or even capital gains. Effectively, you would have reduced your income by $85,000. Now, depending on your tax bracket, that can be a big help come tax time. If you are in the 37% income tax bracket, that would equal to about $32,000 in tax savings. Now, do we have your attention? Now, before we get too excited, you'll need to talk to your tax advisor to see how this would affect your personal situation. But let's look at some interesting ways this investment could help in real life. Meet Dr. Watson and his wife. He's a cardiologist and makes $600,000 a year as a W-2 employee, and she's a stay-at-home mom. Fortunately, they live in Texas, which doesn't have a state income tax, but he's in the 37% bracket. Dr. Watson has done the right thing over time and has invested well, but that doesn't help him with his income tax. However, investing in EPUS might really help him. You see, Dr. Watson likes the EPUS formula for Unit A, which provides annual distributions of 10%, a market-driven exit strategy, and Dr. Watson gets a part of the profits when the exit occurs. The tax benefit of investing $200,000 in EPUS makes a huge difference. Thanks to bonus depreciation, Dr. Watson received a K-1 from EPUS reflecting a loss of $176,000, which as a general partner allowed him to offset that much in W-2 income. This meant a tax savings of almost $63,000 using the same offset of 85% from 2021. Let's suppose Dr. Watson was also invested in a non-performing asset, but to get out of it would create a tax liability. For instance, capital gains on real estate. Dr. Watson is aware that if he sells the property for a significant gain, he can roll that into another property and defer the capital gains taxes. But he really doesn't want to stay in real estate, and he doesn't have an attractive property that he wants to buy. At the same time, the distributions and other benefits he gets with EPUS are a very attractive alternative. Well, Dr. Watson pulls the trigger and sells that property for $100,000 more than what he bought it for. Typically, that would mean a capital gains of 20% or $20,000. Now that $100,000 is going to be invested in EPUS, where he will receive an offset to income, let's use 88% for this example. Effectively, his net gain would be reduced to $12,000, meaning a capital gains tax of roughly $2,400. Of course, this example is an abstract, and there are other things to consider, but you kind of get the idea. Now let's look at another example. Dr. Watson has an IRA and believes taxes are likely to increase over time. He decides to get out now while the tax rates are lower than they might be in the future. He wants to get that cash out and maybe put it into an investment that generates double-digit returns, has a market-driven exit strategy, and he also gets a piece of the profits upon exit. Well, yet again, this is where an investment in EPUS shines. When he exits the IRA, he is creating a taxable event, and depending on the timing, it might come with fees and penalties as well. Well, thanks to bonus depreciation, and because he entered the investment as a GP, he receives the loss from bonus depreciation and other expenses. Better yet, EPUS is a non-correlated asset class, meaning that as the stock market swings, EPUS doesn't, and SWD wells are a more stable form of income than investing directly in oil and gas. Now, as with any investment, Dr. Watson spent time with his tax specialist and advisor. But if this strategy got your attention, let's get together and chat.